How you doing, guys? Bada Bing here. Thank you for joining me today. This is a good day because this is my GHK AK gas blowback rifle. This is a rifle which I just really haven't featured that much on the channel, and a lot of you out there have called me out on it. Hey Bing, where's the review on the GHK AK? I can't seem to find it. Well, there's a good reason for that. I don't actually have a review out there of this rifle, and that's a real shame. It's something I haven't really given much attention to on this channel. I've bought it and used it and just, yeah, that's about it. It's also a rifle which I haven't really bothered upgrading too much. For me, it just works fine, and there's very little which I've done externally and internally until a few days ago when I received the W&S Single Hook Steel AK Trigger, and it follows the actual the curve and the shape of the real AK Trigger a lot better than the standard GHK one. Now the triggers on the original GHK rifles, they really bothered me because they just didn't look right. They made the rifles kind of look a bit off to me. I mean, they're long and goofy and just, they didn't sit right within the rifle. But finally W&S decided to make an AK trigger properly. Well, I say properly, it looks a lot more authentic than the original GHK one, put it that way. So because there wasn't a lot of media online showing you the W&S trigger installed inside the GHK AK, you just more or less had the manufacturer photographs. So I wanted to do a quick video showing you just what yours would look like when you upgraded your GHK AK with their fancy new realistic looking trigger. Excuse me while I just dunk some Toblerone. Now, small plug for my my Toblerone 4.5 kilogram bar unboxing. You'll have to check that one out because this is a small chunk of one of their large pieces of Toblerone, which I'm almost about halfway through eating. I've had to take a load of chunks into work because I cannot eat the whole thing on my own, and I don't really eat a lot of this stuff because I don't want it to get, obviously I don't want to get too sick of eating it, so I try and eat a tiny piece a week just to kind of spread it out. I'll say this is a tiny piece, this is a huge chunk here, but it's damn sight smaller than the massive brick that it belongs to. Now I know what some of you might be thinking. Does it actually offer you anything beyond the aesthetic looks? Well, to be honest, I can't tell. The face of the trigger itself is just a little bit thinner than the original GHK. The GHK trigger is just a touch wider. But as far as your take-up, your break, your wall, your reset, it kind of feels the same. Take a look. So like the GHK, you've got a fairly long, lightweight take-up, but you just don't know where that wall is going to be. So you're pulling and pulling and pulling, and it breaks the shot. Now coming back on the reset, you feel that spring tension, pull your finger back out to a good healthy clunk like that. So let's come back on it again. There we go, break the shot. Lovely reset. The travel of the trigger itself, it's got a fairly narrow window of operation, so when you're pulling to the brake and then you're coming back forward, you've only got a short amount of operational space right there. So if you wanted to, you could make the rifle really sing on semi-automatic. I'm not going to do it right now because I've hardly got any gas left in this magazine. So this is just for demonstrational purposes only. This is what you're likely to expect out of your AK. And there you go. Yeah, okay, let's move on. Alright, peering into the guts of this AK, we've got the W&S Trigger. And you can also see the two springs either side here that they've included plus the valve striker return spring, those all came with the trigger. So yes, probably best practice to use their springs instead of the stock GHK ones. You can also see in the center, that's my steel CNC auto sear, which I replaced about 5-6 years ago, something like that, and that's still going strong. Now the single hook right here, when it engages the hammer, it feels like it really needs an additional amount of pressure to lock that into place. The original parts, the hammer would just glide over it and lock with a really light kind of engagement, but on this one you really do feel it need that little bit of pressure to lock it into place, and that's something you can feel when you're racking the bolt carrier. It feels like it needs that extra amount of pull just to lock it into place. Now when it's firing, you can't really tell too much, but when you're doing it manually, yeah, it's something you can feel. It's probably going to reduce the life of my hammer because this is an original GHK one and it is pot metal, it's not steel. So I can see me replacing that at some point in the near future, but for now, it's doing okay for the time being. Speaking of installation, I'm not going to be releasing an installation guide because there's a few of those online already. You can check the description for links to where you can learn how to install it yourself. It's really quite easy, just a little bit fiddly when you're putting the springs into place. These two and that one, it is a little bit fiddly, so yeah, I'll let you follow someone else's guide for that one because I'll be sat there for ages shouting and swearing. I'm not going to go through that amount of stress, so I'll let someone else do that for me. To be honest, a component as insignificant as this trigger, it has made this AK for me. It has completed it. Beforehand, it was okay. Yeah, the trigger just looked a little bit odd for me, and I really do care about the tiny details, as pathetic as it may be and insignificant. This one simple upgrade has just made it for me. Just look at it. W&S, you have made a remarkable product right here. I'm so pleased with how it's turned out. This is the best upgrade that I've got on my AK, and well, it's the best upgrade since my Bakelite grip and real Bakelite magazine that I converted. A lot of you guys know that I'm all about the visuals. I'm very much a aesthetic kind of guy, and when something doesn't quite look right, it kind of gets to my OCD a bit. But then you get companies like W&S which will put things right, and they certainly have done that here, and I'm so thrilled with the results. I mean, I've said it before so many times in this video at this point, but yeah, she's gorgeous. Okay, that about does it from me. Thank you very much for watching this rather quick video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, you know what to do. Hit the like, and for those of you that haven't already done so, and if you tend to find my videos on the recommended section of YouTube, why not go the whole way and subscribe, and then become notified when new videos go live. You can find me on Facebook and over on Instagram if you want to see regular updates. So until next time, look after yourselves. Catch you in a bit. Do svidaniya.